Awesome. So, welcome to the new episode of the Creator Corner podcast, everyone. And in today's episode, I'm joined by my first mentor, Finn J. Connors of Finn Barbell. How's it going, Finn? How are you doing today?
What's up, Sid? I'm doing good today. How about yourself?
Doing great, dude. Beautiful day here in Vancouver. And yeah, dude. So, just to give you guys a quick overview of who Finn is, I came in contact with Finn in May of 2023, I believe. And yeah, I reached out to him, sent him a DM on Instagram, said, listen, man, I really love what you're doing. And I was hoping we can hop on a call about a potential mentorship. We hopped on a call. Became his mentee and never looked back since. He's really helped me not only mentally but physically as well. He's like got me a freaking six pack. He got me shredded, and he's helping other guys do the same. So, Finn, do you want to give a quick intro of who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Finn Connors. I'm an online fitness coach. I've been doing this for about a year and a half now, and I've been lifting weights. That's my experience for about 10 years. Um, Basically, I help men who are looking to build muscle and men who are basically want to become better men because there's somebody going through a lot of mental health issues, a lot of substance abuse problems myself, especially in college. I know how it can be for a lot of younger guys and just not having that sense of direction. So I basically help guys improve their lives, set them on the right path by putting them on a solid personal development routine, giving them the physique that they want, or at least putting them in the direction of that so that they have the tools to achieve that and keep it for the rest of their lives. So that's basically what I do. I help guys basically build momentum in their lives and become better men.
That's awesome, dude. I love that. And I've definitely seen you do that as well. You've told a couple of your stories on your YouTube videos. So if no one knows, Finn also has a YouTube channel and an Instagram where you guys can get in contact with him. Just send him a DM, or if you guys want to get trained by him, he's an amazing coach. So I'll link that down in the description below. But basically, you've spoken a lot about the substance abuse and the drug abuse, especially like during college times, right? So like how did you overcome that initially? Like what flipped in your mind? You were like, holy shit, this is not going to be working out for me in the long run.
Yeah. So I quit twice. For me, the main thing was, I mean, it was everything, bro. It was smoking, it was drinking, it was Adderalls. But the worst one was the Xanax because that's a highly addictive substance. And just what it did to me mentally was it was a monsoon. So when I came out of college, it was actually, I overdosed about 3 weeks before I graduated my senior year. And then I went straight back to the drugs because that's how fucked up I was. And then when I came back home, moved back in with my parents, I quit for the first time. And that was just extremely brutal. I didn't tell anybody really what I was going through. Like my parents kind of knew, but they didn't really know. And yeah, I basically locked myself in my room, and basically then that was my introduction into the real world. Because as soon as that phase got over, my job started. So there was that. That was the first time I quit. But even after I quit the Xanax, at that point, I was still drinking. I was still smoking. My mindset still hadn't changed. I literally just picked this one substance that fucked with me, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to eliminate this, but I can do all this other stuff." And I'm sure
Mhm.
that's the mindset a lot of guys have, is that once you cut out one vice, you're like, oh, well, I can just go smoke more weed now, or I'm not doing this, so I can reward myself by eating this bullshit or watching porn or whatever. So that was the first time I quit. And then I got back on the Zans after that. And the moment that I basically decided to turn my life around and say, I'm not doing any of this anymore, was when I lost that my second job out of college, which was a year later down the line. And, I told my parents, and they were pretty pissed off at me just with the situation and everything. So they told me, hey, don't come back home, don't move back home. So I was sitting there not knowing what I'm gonna do with my life with a slight Xanax addiction and about $200 in my bank account. And that's when I decided like there's no more waiting. I've been watching YouTube videos. I've been doing all this stuff for the last 2 years, but I've never made any real progress. And I'm sick of being in this spot in life. So that's when I decided to turn things around.
Wow, dude, that's wow, that's crazy. Firstly, like you've really like gone through and found yourself by having to go through these vices by yourself. You learn through that experience and are helping the other guys who are in the same position as you before kind of get rid of that. That's amazing, dude. And so I'm curious, like once your like parents told you like not to come back home, like what did you do? Like how did you like kind of fend for yourself at that time?
Well, it's pretty ironic because right now everything came back full circle and I'm back home now. So life
Right.
always teaches you a lesson like that. But the initial question was, what did I do when they told me don't come back home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was working a career in finance and I thought I was going to work my way up the ladder in that and just, bro, I couldn't do it. My self confidence was too low. They didn't trust me. And a lot of that was due to the drug use. I wouldn't say it was entirely due to it, but part of it was due to that. So when that didn't work out for me, that was even a bigger ego blow. But I really only had so much money to my name and rent was coming up due. I asked my landlord for an extension and everything, but like I was just so messed up that the pressure was so high, I was forced to just act. And I think my mindset at the time was like, okay, what am I going to do with my career? What am I going to do with my career? And it's like, you don't even have time to decide right now because you're going to go broke if you wait any longer. So at that point, I was like, let me just pick a path. And the first thing that came to my mind was just being a personal trainer. And it was like the stars aligned, everything somehow magically worked out for me where I didn't have a certification, but I found a job that didn't require one. I came into like a perfect scenario and I just worked my ass off. I worked my ass off for like a year thereafter and just stacked my money up to get myself out of that position. And during that whole time frame, I also started building my YouTube. I got myself off the drugs, separated from a lot of negative influences in my life, and started doing the
Mm-hmm.
coaching as well.
Wow, dude, that's crazy. Like he actually coached me for a bit as well back in I believe May or October of last year. But yeah, it was an amazing time. And so when you started getting like when you just left home and you were kind of fending for yourself at the time, you had rent coming up, you had your back against the wall, so you had to make something work at the time. So, you went on to personal training and you started YouTube. And I've actually got your oldest YouTube video pulled up out here of you working out. So, one sec, I'm just gonna share that real quick. But yeah, I have your oldest YouTube video pulled up right here. So, was this part of your personal training days, or like, was this like a promo for your personal training? What was that like?
Yeah, that was just before I started personal training. I was working out at the gym that I eventually started training at before I got that job. So it
Hmm.
just kind of lined up. But yeah, that was probably like a week or two before I started training.
Right. That's amazing, dude. And I'm curious, like, what made you start giving like if you see later down in your life in your videos you started like got to go harder, why overtraining is fake, and get out of your comfort zone. Like what inspired you to start making these type of videos to begin with? Because you started off with just heavily fitness based, and then it kind of moved on to self development. What changed?
Yeah, I think when I started off as just fitness, I was kind of just playing it small and I was afraid of really putting my voice out there, which I
Hmm.
know a lot of people who start social medias are. You don't want to really be yourself, put your ideas out into the world. but that's why I started the YouTube in the first place. So like
Right.
I started it to have a voice, and I started it because of all the frustration in my situation, and I wanted to outlet that. When I started it, it wasn't even about helping other people. It wasn't about, let me bring you this fitness information. It was like, all right, I just want to have an outlet that people can hear me, or at least I can use these emotions in some productive way other than just going and drinking a fifth of Remy or popping some Xanax.
Hmm.
And so that's what it started as. And then um, I just continued doing fitness for a while because that's what I was comfortable with. It was like I didn't want to. I sprinkled in some personal development stuff, but I didn't really show myself in it. I didn't show myself fully, and I continued to do fitness. So yeah, that's where I started.
No, that makes total sense. And the fact that you mentioned, right, like when you're just starting out on social media, you kind of like there's a mask you're wearing. And I think we've had this conversation before, like sometime last year. There's this mask we're wearing where you can't like you're having a hard time kind of being yourself in front of the camera. And when you're off camera, you can just, live life as it was. But what advice would you give to like someone who is in that same position right now, who's just started social media, not only like fitness videos or just social media as a whole? They're making videos, they're not being themselves authentically. Like, what advice could you give them to like kind of let them be who they are?
Two things. Number one, you have to get out of your comfort zone. If your life is very uncomfortable as is, then that's going to make getting yourself on camera easier. But if
Mhm.
if you've lived a very comfortable life, or you're in a very comfortable situation in life, and you're just trying to start your YouTube or your Instagram, trying to get on and be authentically yourself is going to be very hard, because you know that judgment is going to come your way, and there's going to be good judgment and there's going to be bad judgment. And the bad judgment, when you first get it, it kind of stinks. But if you've been battle tested and you can put things into perspective and say, all right, this doesn't really mean shit. Whatever my friends from high school think, or whatever all these people think, doesn't really mean shit, because I've been through worse and I've experienced worse. That is good for you. So, first, it's just getting out of your comfort zone, talking on camera, doing these things, talking about like really identifying who you are as a person, and like talking about your core values and that type of stuff. So it's kind of just do it first and foremost. But in order for that to really work, you also have to be doing the work behind the scenes, which means running your self-development routine, waking up at an early time in the morning, being in the gym consistently, being on your diet consistently, being mindful of your mental health, not letting negative thoughts in, practicing meditation, journaling. These are the simple shit that a lot of people don't do, or they start missing out on it. And then suddenly, over the course of days or weeks, they start to feel less like themselves. They start to feel less confident. Well, it's because you're negotiating with your routine. And especially if you want to get on camera and talk about like fitness or something self-development related, you have to be the living embodiment of what you're talking about. You can't just be
Mhm.
some cornball that's like, hey guys, work out. Like, you no, you should be jacked. If you're going to talk about developing yourself, you should have overcame something, or you should have, you know, developed yourself in more than one way.
No, for sure. I couldn't agree more. And I'm curious, like, when you're talking on the camera, right? Like, you have to go through what you talk about. So, that being said, like, what specifically, like, initially when I started content creation, for example, I had this imposter syndrome. Like, I pretended I had, like, the 10,000 fans watching me, and that helped a bit. but at the same time, it kind of had like created like an imposter syndrome. So, has that ever happened to you before initially when you were getting started, or?
Yeah, I think when I really first got started, I didn't take it seriously enough, and that showed in my content. Like I was just kind of joking around to make it easier on myself. Of like, okay, well, you don't really have to take me seriously because I'm doing this comedy stuff. But as I started talking about more real, serious stuff, I definitely experienced that. But then again, that comes back to, are you really putting in the work on yourself and your habits? Because I've noticed
Mhm.
when I'm really putting the work in on myself, I have a different layer, different level of conviction to my words. But when I start falling off on those things, my creativity goes down and I'm not as confident. And that's when those signs of imposter syndrome start to creep in.
Right. So that makes total sense. And I'm curious, you've made 1,100 videos on your YouTube channel. That's crazy, by the way. That's amazing. So many young guys look up to you as as someone they seek advice to for fitness, for life, for getting over vices. But who do you look up to when you were getting started, or even right now? Who do you look up to as a YouTuber or person? Who is it?
Yeah. I'm a big believer in investing into yourself and putting yourself around the right people, hiring the right mentors. So I've hired a couple different mentors for my business. Right now, I'm working with one who is a savage. And then in terms of my fitness right now, I hired a fitness coach just to help me with some of the injuries that I've been dealing with over the last couple of years. So the question is, who do I look up to? Um, when I started, it was people like self development YouTubers, people like Steph is Cold, and people that were just Wes Watson, people that are really honest on camera and like are making an actual change in the world. Um, who I look up to now, I would say I don't watch as much content, to be honest. I really don't watch a ton of content. Um, but I have coaches and I have mentors that are the people that I look up to.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, totally. That makes sense. So you start off with Steph Cole and guys like that, and right now you're focused more on the mentorship aspect of things. And how important would you say mentorship is?
Uh, for young men specifically, extremely important because how many of us really get that? Sid, did you have somebody that was just guiding you through life, telling you to make this move and that move, or like you had
No.
your parents, but
Yeah.
did you have anybody that like you really looked up to? Because a lot of us, a lot of times as young men, we don't really have respect for the older men, and it's because we can't understand them. They can't get through to us. That's why I feel like we need somebody that's more in our age range or more like us. They more can understand us so that we can actually respect them and implement their advice. Because I'm sure any one of us, our parents have probably told us, don't do that. And we fucking did it over and over and over again. And, and then we blamed our parents. So having a mentor, especially for young men, is key. And it's key not just in your fitness, but in multiple aspects of your life, like your self development, your career. I think it's important to have mentors in each one of those areas, whether official and you're paying them, or whether it's somebody that's just unofficially supporting you. It makes the world of a difference because it's not about what you know; it's about who you know.
No, I couldn't agree more. Like right now, I'm also getting like mentored in sales because I'm working in sales as well right now. So yeah, having that mentorship has been definitely super, super helpful. Even like when I was getting mentored by you, that was like probably the most like one of the best physical changes I've had. And I've been able to maintain that just using the same workout plans you'd given before, kind of like making a cycle of it, and if I plateau, kind of move on. Like, let me tell you something, guys, right? Like when I was getting mentored by Finn, he didn't only just give me a workout plan and said, yo, here you go, live by it. He literally checked in every single week, checked in on my food every single day. And he really got me like dialed in with the workouts. And if I didn't go for a workout, he used to call me out on that bullshit. He used to literally used to like say, listen man, you got to work out, otherwise you're not going to achieve this goal, that goal. And I think it's super important. So if a young guy wanted to get mentored by you, Finn, where can they find you for that?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Finn J Connors. You can shoot me a DM there, or you can find me on YouTube. It's at Finn Barbell, or if you just search Finn Bar Connors, you'll find me. I put my consultation link in each description of each YouTube video. But the quickest way
Yeah,
to get to
guys.
me would be on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also going to share the screen of your IG here so people know exactly where to find you. So, guys, you guys can follow him out here. Wait, there you go. This is my creator counterpart. But yeah, you guys can definitely just click on the link out here, join Finn's school community as well. It's super powerful. So, that being said, like you are in the niche of self-improvement, self-development, workouts, things like that. So if a young guy, say John, okay, wanted to create videos like you and doesn't know where to start, what could you tell him? Or like how would you recommend he maneuver his way around the entire social media world right now?
Well, it depends. My first question to John would be, John, what real life experience do you have? What real results do you have? Because if you don't have any real results in any area, then you should probably focus more on going out and getting those results than hyper focusing in on, okay, let me produce content. And there's a different way to come about it. Let's say you don't really have real world results in any one area. Well, then you could still use that opportunity to document your journey of acquiring those skills or acquiring whatever assets that you're going after. But I think definitely don't talk about stuff that you haven't achieved or that you don't know about. And I've made that mistake before, and it digs you into a hole that makes you not want to create. So I think first and foremost, get real life results. Get in the gym, get on your self development routine, regardless of what type of content creator you are, because the self development routine is going to help you with your self confidence and being in the best shape of your life, obviously as well. Um, Secondly, I think it's just consistency, because
Mhm.
anybody can post to YouTube, anybody can post on Instagram here or there, but how many people can do it every single day on the days where, and this is where people look at discipline like, I'll be disciplined when I feel like it. And it's very easy to say like, oh yeah, I'm going to lock in for the next 6 months if you're feeling good today. But what happens when a week down the line and you're telling yourself that you're going to make a post every day, and a week down the line you're feeling like something went wrong in your life? Maybe you got rejected by a girl, maybe you got rejected by 3 4 5 girls, your friends ditched you, and you just fucking jerked off and came on yourself. Like, what are you going to say now? That's going to be very embarrassing to get on camera, and that's what's going to fuck with your consistency. It's that fear of judgment, and it's a little bit of laziness as well. So my two pieces of advice would just be, um, get on your grind, only talk about stuff that you've achieved, or you can talk about things that you're in the process of achieving, but don't talk don't talk about them as if you're an authority in that one area, because that's how you're going to build up that imposter syndrome. And then secondly, just consistency.
Consistency and talk about real life experiences. No, for sure, that makes total sense. And I'm curious, what is your, daily self-development routine looking like?
Yeah, so today is my off day. I haven't taken an off day in weeks because I feel like shit today. I've been drinking a lot of coffee, doing some of these nicotine pouches lately, which I realized I woke up in the middle of last night like, all right, I need to get off this. And this is what I'm talking about too when I say for guys, like if you're looking to create content, be honest as well. Be honest, and that will hold you to a higher standard. But yeah, so today is the first off day I've taken in several weeks. My self development routine, it looks like I'm waking up at 4:30 a.m. every day. The first thing I do is go hit the gym, and the way my workouts have been lately, I've been in the gym for about 3 hours. So
Three
I
hours.
get back from the gym. I'll usually yeah, it's crazy. They're not intense the whole 3 hours, but it's a long period of time. But I get out the gym. I usually record a YouTube video right there. I'll come home. I'll eat breakfast. I'll shower, meditate. I'll journal a little bit. I'll read 10 pages of some self development or entrepreneurship book. And then pretty much by that point, I've gotten myself into a high frequency mind state. And that's when I go and attack the most important work task of the day. So usually for me, that's going to be drafting and recording content.
Mm-hmm. Draft. No, that makes total sense, dude. That sounds like a packed day. Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, you're obviously, having your own fitness program and all in the works right now. So how do you run that with YouTube and managing the gym for 3 hours? Like, how do you manage all three big factors every single day?
Well, I'm lucky to have the opportunity now to be living back home because if I didn't have this opportunity, then I would be having to be working a job right now. But because I have this opportunity, I can put more time really into myself, into my own self development, and into my business. So I'm taking full advantage of that opportunity. Um, in terms of how do I manage the time? Well, I first of all, I time block every week in advance. So I have it laid out like down to the hour. This is what I'm going to be doing Monday at this time, and so on and so forth. Secondly, I don't really have any vices. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I rarely go out. The phase of my life that I'm at right now, I don't really have any friends, or at least the friends that I do have are kind of like in different circumstances. So we don't see each other that often. Um, so I would say that plays a big part in it. And also just with building a business or with creating content, it's a different mindset than working a job. A lot of people, I know for myself, going from working as a trainer and like literally putting in as much hours as possible because I had my back up against the wall. I thought I could apply that mindset to my content and I would just grow faster. And I thought I could apply it to my business and it would just make me more money. But that's really not how it works. Content is creative, so you have to be in a creative frame of mind. So it doesn't matter how many fucking videos that you put out. If each one of those videos, you're feeling sorry about yourself. You're feeling like a sad sack of shit. You woke up at 11 a.m., all this shit. And same thing with your business. Like for me, I have clients. I'm not going to show up the best for my clients if I'm not taking care of myself and almost like structuring my day like an athlete, where I wake up early. I do these self improvement or like health habits. If I'm not doing those things, I'm not in the frame of mind I need to be creative and to help my clients to the best of my ability. So that's just one key difference between like going to school or working a job and creating content, building a business, is that the latter is about leverage and the former is just about how much time and effort that you put into it.
Wow. No, for sure. That makes total sense. But like, how do you like? Do you create like these alter egos when you're like working? Okay, I'm gonna be this. Like, I am this business guy right now. When I'm creating, I'm this creative guy right now. Is that how you do it, or how does that work?
No, I think maybe I did it a little bit at the start, but I think now it's more like, how can I make myself the same person in all areas of life so that I don't have to put on a facade? So like when I get on camera, I don't want to, if I don't feel like yelling and being motivational on this day, then I'm not going to yell and be motivational. If I don't if I don't feel like being serious on this day and I feel like cracking some jokes, then I'm going to crack some jokes. So I wouldn't say I really like step into an alter ego as much anymore. I know that works for some people, but for myself, it it tends to lead to a lot of burnout. So
Mhm.
I've noticed for myself that the most sustainable way to just keep going uh, is to just be myself 100% authentically. And what that is going to differ on a daily basis every single day.
Right. So I know for a fact that I personally used to like create these. I used to like have an energy drink before I make a video at times because just to get the energy levels up, uh, to be creative or just because my niche is a bit different from yours. So like, how do you become comfortable on camera? Because I know when I think I spoke to you about this last year as well. Like, how do you just be yourself? Like how do you have the h- like how do you be yourself without having to feel like, oh, okay, if this person watches me or if this friend of mine watches me, it's gonna be very awkward because they know I'm not like this. But does that make sense? Like caring about
Sort
what
of.
people
How
think.
do you not? How do you not be yourself?
Yeah, I guess like like how do you stop caring what people think when you're on camera? Because especially in social media, where people like see you're trying to build an audience or you're trying to build a brand about yourself for you, a personal brand, a business maybe, and people are gonna diss you. People are gonna actually like make fun of you behind your back, especially the people you think maybe who might be closest to you. How do you like deal with that stuff?
Well, I'm going to ask you, how do you be yourself? How would you not be yourself on camera?
How would I not be myself? I don't know, dude. Like, I just, I don't know. It's a tricky question, huh?
So if one of your friends got on and your friend is a super quiet dude by nature and he's just super chill, but then he got on camera and he's like, yeah, and he's fucking screaming and hyping everybody up, would you be able to see through that?
Yeah, at times I would. Like, it'd be like, wait, what just happened right now? It'd kind of be like that. It'd take me by
Yeah, you would
surprise,
be
but yeah, I'd be able to
you'd
see
be
through
able to
it.
feel it, right?
Yeah, no, for
You'd
sure.
be able to feel it because you can feel that in authenticity.
Right.
So, in my opinion, like, you can put on an act for however long. I've probably done it in my content of being like this hard ass, hard nosed guy, and it worked for some time. But eventually, you're gonna hit a point where either your mind starts beating you up for not being yourself, or your audience starts seeing through your bullshit. And then in that case, they're not going to respect you any longer. So it'd be better to just take the hate, the criticism, go through the embarrassment of just being yourself now on camera in order to get through that and gain actual people's respect. Because people will respect that a lot more when you're just 100% authentically yourself. because a lot of people can't do that. So when we get on here and do this type of stuff, of course, there's going to be people that hate on us. Of course, there's going to be people that think that we're cornballs. But there's also going to be a lot of other people that think, man, I wish I could do that. And they choose to not let themselves do it. So seeing
Mhm.
somebody else do it is kind of inspiring. So that's really what it is.
Just like, so basically just being yourself, like literally, that's pretty much it.
It's literally because whatever people are always going to see through the bullshit eventually.
Hmm.
So you literally have to be yourself. And if you try not to be yourself, well, your real self is still going to come out through that. But now you're going to be disguising it with all this other bullshit. So you're going to be looking insecure.
Right. But that makes, yeah, that makes total sense. And I'm curious, what is the creative process looking like for you? Like, you film the
The creative.
video, and like, what do you do after that? Like, you put it in an editing software. Like, what does the
Yeah,
creative process look like for you on a daily
I'm
basis?
I'm not a good person with technology. You were the one teaching me all the technology stuff when we were working together. You were like, "Hey, Finn, use this website, use this uh, whatever editing software." Very rarely did I ever give you advice on that. So that's not my area of expertise. Is the editing. Um, in terms of my creative process, I would say all my ideas just come to me throughout the day at the most random times. So usually when I'm at the gym or I'm in some intense cardio or it's early in the morning and I'm meditating or journaling or something, that's when my best ideas come to me. So what I'll do is I'll just stockpile them up on the notes app on my phone. And then a couple days a week, I'll work on Instagram content. A couple days a week, I'll work on YouTube content. A couple days a week, I'll work on content in the course, in my school community. And I'll take all the ideas that I've written down in my notes app and um, out of that, or I'll draft a YouTube. I'll write talking points for a YouTube, or uh,
Wait, yeah, I think you got lagged out for the last couple of seconds for that.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, there
yeah.
we go.
Awesome. So you just, when you're doing activities, the idea just kind of come to you. Just write it down on the notes app and just, okay, that makes total sense. Because I started to do something similar. Like, I have a whiteboard right there. So like before I sleep, I tend to get the best ideas. I don't know why. Or even like in between my sleep, I just wake up, go there, write it down, go back to sleep. Um, so if someone wanted to do what you're doing right now, personal training, creating your own, coaching plan, becoming a fitness trainer worldwide, how can they do the things you're doing right now? Like,
How can
what are
they
the
do the
action
things
steps they
that
can take? What are the action steps they can do to build a personal brand like you? Because you've got like 7K followers on IG, 4K followers, well, close to 8K on 5K on YouTube. So that's like 12K people following you on both platforms. And I'm not sure about
mhm.
TikTok as well. So, how do you like, how would you kind of guide somebody to create their own personal brand? And since you're yet on the come up as well, you're yet an upcoming creator who's growing every single day. Like, what advice would you give them?
start posting now, no matter what stage in the development of it that you're in? And that applies to whatever endeavor that you choose, whether that's fitness, whether that's something else, finance, I don't know. Start posting now because you want to document the journey. That's what people are really going to resonate with. I think that's why people resonate with my content, because I'm somebody that, since I've started recording YouTube videos, if you go watch my first YouTube video, I was super insecure, super not confident, and I was still making poor choices at that point. Um, but even though I haven't made it fully, I'm not the guy that's riding around in a Lambo in Miami. I am somebody that's come a long way. And I think that's what people really resonate with. So start posting now, start posting consistently, post every aspect of yourself that you're comfortable with. Like, really document the journey, document who you are as a person. And that's what's going to distinguish you from somebody else, because there's a ton of people out here doing this now. Ton of people want to become content creators, thinking it's the easiest thing. Even after having a reel that blew up and got, what was it, like a 250,000 likes, 8
It
million views or
was,
something.
where'd it go? Yeah, 8 million views. Or 12, I think.
So, yeah. So even since that, like, that doesn't guarantee money in your pocket. There's a lot of broke influencers. And for me, that did not guarantee money in my pocket. So turning it into a business is then a whole nother thing. Um, but obviously that's what most people who want to become content creators want to do, is they want to make money off of it. They don't want to just use it forever as a form of self-expression. That's what it starts off as. But if you're really going to take it serious, obviously you want it to make money for you. You want to develop some sort of business out of it. Um, so you really have to connect with people if that's what you want to do. And you can have a great physique, or you can have a great this, you can have a great fucking mansion or whatever. But if people don't connect with you, they're not going to trust you enough to buy with you.
Hmm. And how do you build that trust? Is it by being authentic on camera?
Yeah, it's by being authentic. Like I said, like admitting your faults. I've done it in this podcast. I've done it on my Instagram story today. Um, Holding yourself to a higher standard than the
What
people
was the
who you
story?
are trying to lead. Uh, Being just completely outright and open with everything that you're doing. And like, a lot of people have this bad idea about sharing your goals. Like, oh, I don't share my goals because as soon as I tell somebody, then I'm not going to follow through with it, whatever. And it's like, no, if you say, hey, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in the next year, and you put it out there on Instagram and you start documenting your journey, well, what happens when you have a shitty day that you don't want to post, or that you ate like shit? You're going to have to report back to those people. And all these people who are probably taking inspiration from your content are then going to they're going to look at you and either call you out for your shit, or you're going to feel bad about it yourself. So it's going to hold you to a higher standard.
Hmm.
So tell people your goals in advance. Document the
Right.
journey towards those goals.
Right. So if you tell people like your goals in advance, then you have like extra motivation to follow through with those goals as well, right?
Hmm. Exactly.
And that makes total sense. So it's funny that you mentioned, like just starting is the most important thing you can do, because every single guest I've had on this podcast has said the same thing. Be spontaneous, just start. And it's not only like we've had like entrepreneurs and YouTubers and boxers in the pod, and they've all said the same thing. Just start. So I think like just starting out or just being spontaneous and hitting publish is such an important thing, especially in 2024, 2025, because now the YouTube market's getting so saturated, it's like very saturated, and there are so many people doing what you're doing. So the only way you can stand out is by just starting, because most people, they plan in advance. They plan for like, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance. They publish that video, then it comes like 4 views, 5 views, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm quitting this. It's not worth it. Things like that. So no, I couldn't agree more. Just starting out is probably the most important thing anyone can do. Yeah. So talking about your school community, right? So if anyone wants to hop on a call with Finn, go to his IG, click on the school community, click on book a free consultation, or you guys can even actually hop on a school community. And I'm in the community as well, guys. Let me tell you something. The brotherhood out there is awesome. And he's also going to be having a couple of live calls every week. So this is the community, guys, called it's Bar Brothers, and we got a bunch of savages in this community. So yeah, Finn, do you have anything to say about the school community? Yeah.
Now, I would just say if you're a man in your 20s, you're looking to put on some muscle and you want extra accountability in doing so, but you can't hire a coach right now, and go ahead and join that group. You're not only going to get the accountability from it, but you're going to get a shit ton of courses, shit ton of value that I've put into that. All my 10 years of fitness experience is piled into these courses. So it's extremely valuable.
For sure. And if anyone wants to join the community, there's also going to be a link down below. It's going to redirect you to Finn's IG and his YouTube, so you guys can definitely subscribe to him, follow him on Instagram. And is there anything is there a parting advice you'd like to give to young men out there on today's podcast?
Stop overthinking. Stop overthinking. The more you think about how you're going to do things the perfect way, the more you wait for the perfect opportunity, the more you fear loss or you fear something, the more that you're going to lose. The difference between winners and losers is that winners are not afraid to take a loss and they're not going to internalize it. I've taken a ton of losses since doing this, moving back home, having to sell my car off, uh, losing friends, losing people, not closing deals, shit not working out the way that I wanted it to. But honestly, like, clap my hands in the face of that. And yeah, I have days where I'm down and I don't feel like doing shit. But like, the more you think about, okay, I want to create content, I want to change my life, I want to drop these substances, whatever, the less you're going to be likely to do it. So just start taking action. Shut off that fucking voice in your brain that's probably talking to you right now, justifying why you can do these things tomorrow, why you can do them next week. Just shut that fucking voice off, because that's exactly what's led you to the point in life where you're at right now.
No, for sure, dude. That's definitely something I agree with. And winners take losses is probably the one thing I really, really resonate with the most. And stop overthinking, because the more we overthink, the less action we take. Success loves speed, delay kills dreams, is how the saying goes, right? So yeah, dude. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and I'm so happy to reconnect with you here. Um, so yeah, I know great things are going to be coming your way. I know you're going to be one of the big guys in the industry very soon. I can tell it. I can feel it. So, dude, I'm excited for you. Let me know if I can help you in any way. I'd be more than happy to. And good luck, dude. I really appreciate you hopping on here.
I appreciate you having me on, Sid.
Of course, yeah. All right, guys. If you guys like this episode, leave a like, subscribe, check out Finn's socials, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.